And recording to the cloud. Okay, live stream is on. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's event. My name is Vivian. I'm the founder of NYC Data Science Academy. And we are 8 years into the business. Actually, if you are following our LinkedIn page, we have a few posts around what we did 6 years ago. Like exactly 6 years ago, we had a Kaggle Grandmaster Vivian Zhang visit our bootcamp and spoke with our very first cohort student. And we graduated 14 students April 14, and majority of them are working in data science field and has become lead data scientists, principal data scientists. So it's really exciting to bring all the old memory back and share with the community. So we're excited to have you here today with us. And we have 3 components for today's event. We will start with a quick fire chat with our recent graduates, David Watsman and Cassie Hoffman. They graduated from last remote live cohort 10 days ago. So they have very fresh memory and the first-hand experience to share with all the upcoming students. Then we will go to Courtney to share recent job. Then for students who are interested in joining in the future, we have Manisa to share more about the program information. Sounds like a good plan?
All right.
Okay, I will take start with David Wassman and Casey Hoffman. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
We're happy to be here.
You recently graduated from the bootcamp, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask you a few questions about your experience in the remote live session. So first of all, what made you decide to choose the remote live bootcamp?
Casey, you want to go first?
Sure. So originally I was looking at in-person data science bootcamps, but because of the pandemic, I figured it would be best to explore remote options. And I browsed through a lot of programs and I ended on New York City Data Science Academy because what they offered sort of appealed to me the most. I really like that they code in both Python and R. I think that's a really fantastic aspect about this program. As far as why I chose a remote live program as opposed to a remote self-paced program, I really wanted to learn from live instructors so that I could ask questions as they come up, but also I could hear other students' questions because sometimes other people's questions help you understand things better.
And like Casey, I also wanted to have in-person experience because the pandemic, again, you can't do it, not right now at least. So I really wanted something that was an intensive learning experience. And I looked around as well, and I'd known about the New York City Data Science Academy for many years. And I had actually taken a course with them back in 2017 in deep learning. So this seemed like a natural progression to go into. I liked what they had to offer. And what really sold me was the projects. Doing 4 projects that I'd be able to add to my portfolio that would allow me to not only sell myself, but to give myself confidence that I could make myself make myself capable in the data science career profession.
David, you came from a very senior background.
I've been around the block, I guess.
We have seen recently a lot of executive level like yourself join the bootcamp, like SVP from Salesforce, the executive director from major bank, like past CEO from Two Sigma Security. So
okay.
It's very, very pleasant to work with you guys.
I'm happy. It's been a good experience.
Cool. So what did your daily schedule look like, Cassie?
So in general, class was sort of broken up into morning and afternoon sessions. The morning section was usually lecture, and that involved both sort of like theoretical understanding and hands-on coding. We would have a lunch break from 12:30 or 1 to about 2 o'clock. I would usually use that to take a walk, kind of decompress, make sure that I was sort of absorbing everything from the morning. And then the afternoon structure tended to vary a little bit. Sometimes there were shorter lectures that kind of brushed up on a topic. Other times there were homework or theoretical reviews. And there was also a lot of self-paced time in the afternoon to work on your homework or whatever project you had. Occasionally there were days where after the sort of 6 p.m. end of the day, I would continue to work on homework or continue to review materials, but I never really stayed up too late. I never had to pull an all-nighter for the program. You have enough time for what you're asked to do.
How about you, David? What's the secret to keep up with the intensive program?
Preparation is important, and pacing yourself is really key. You don't want to get underwater, because once you go under, it's very hard to come back up. It is a very fast-paced program. So it's very important that you keep up with the homeworks, keep up with the projects, and make sure that you keep up with the material in general.
Cassie, I'm really surprised you never put an all-nighter. We usually measure like how hard students work by when is the first day they start to put all-nighter. We typically see it from the third week. Which
That's really
means
funny.
you pace things really well. Cool. So next question, did you guys find the lecture being interactive and designed the way to fit the remote students' needs?
I'll take that. You know, I found it very interactive. We use Zoom, and you're able to just pop in and just ask a question. They'll stop. You know, everything's recorded. So, you know, if you do have to go backward and, you know, to review something, you can review it, but you can also see the questions that other people are asking at the same time. So it's a good balance. And there are, in addition to having the sessions that we record, there are previously recorded sessions that are, you know, are more smoother, I guess, than having people just pop in and out with questions, you know, and stopping the instructor, you know, to clarify. So it's a good balance, I would say.
So when you think that's a video available for you, one is more compact version, which doesn't have that much student question. Also the live recording from each day. We push to the Slack channel so you can have both reference. Cool. So any interesting story from the class you'd like to share, David and Cassie?
I'll go first for this one if you want. I actually have a couple. So for the first project, it was an individual project, and we all sort of individually presented a data visualization using our Shiny project. One of our classmates had done a really fantastic presentation comparing the differences between mined and lab-grown diamonds. And after the presentation, he had revealed that he was inspired to do this because he had recently proposed to his fiance. And it was just like really sweet.
On my side, it was sort of a family affair. During our capstone project, one of our team members was due to have a baby any day. So we were constantly worried that, was this the day the baby was going to come? During our presentation, was the baby going to come? Fortunately, the baby decided to wait. It was very generous in giving his time. So he waited until after the graduation and then finally showed up.
Yeah, the baby came on the first day of the post-bootcamp study plan day. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Cassie, do you have more interesting story you'd like to share?
Sure. So I collaborated with another student on one of our group projects, and at the end of the semester, or I guess at the end of the program, we had decided to connect with each other on social media just to stay in touch. And it turns out that I had gone to high school with a bunch of people who he had gone to college with, and we actually knew a lot of the same people, even though I live in New York and he lives in Miami. So I thought that was really interesting and just kind of a small world.
Yeah, less than 6 degrees, right? Awesome. So how many projects each of you developed in the bootcamp?
There are 4 projects that we work on. The first project is the our Shiny project, which is sort of a web-based project that allows us to do data analysis. I worked on a COVID analysis project for that one. Second was a web scraping tool, and that's going against the web to grab information and put into some sort of format that you can do analysis on. For that, I went and scraped Indeed.com for data scientist positions, which I actually am using right now to find a job. So it's very timely. The third project was a machine learning project on predicting housing prices in Ames, Iowa. That was interesting. We used a whole bunch of different machine learning algorithms that were taught in the class and some that weren't taught in the class. And then our final project was the capstone project, which was lending club investment analysis, deciding whether that was a good vehicle for investors to go into or not. And just to cut to the chase, it wasn't so good.
It's a very difficult topic.
Thank you.
So, Cassie, did you choose all the project topic by yourself?
So not all of them. So for the first two projects, you as sort of the individual student have a lot of flexibility and creative control over what direction you want to take it in, which is, in my opinion, a very good thing. For the first project, I did a comparison of ratings and reviews from different regional locations of video games. And I really enjoyed that because I got to combine sort of like things that I'm passionate about with data analysis. I think doing so can be very helpful, especially if you're new to whatever sort of technique you'd like to use. As far as the third project, the one where we were all predicting housing prices for Ames, Iowa, that was a sort of bootcamp wide project. We had groups of 3 to 4 students usually, but everyone had the same project assignment, which was nice because you could sort of talk to other groups and just check in and see, hey, how's this going? What specific machine learning algorithms did you try out? For the final project, for our capstone, New York City Data Science Academy provided a list of about 4 or 5 options for projects that we could choose from. We also had the option to collaborate with a corporation, which is what I did. I worked with 7 Park, and our group and I predicted rent prices for apartments in New York City, Miami, Austin, and the San Francisco Bay Area. That was really fun. As far as the capstone project, you are allowed to come up with your own idea should you have one. So they encourage you to sort of look for data sets, think about things that you might be interested in doing. And there is a lot of, you can be flexible with it, but there also is enough structure that if you're not really sure what you want to do, you won't be totally lost.
Yes, we designed a project to fit almost all the job description. So when you go out there, you know how to design web-based interactive dashboard. You know how to get your own data without any cost. The third project, we do close scope because we want to make sure students practice majority of the machine learning method. There are not that many data sets. You can practice everything. And the last capstone, you put everything together. You can play all the magic what you learned so far together. Cool. So how did you find teammates for your group project? Did you know them through class collaboration, homework review, or what's the best way to pick the teammates?
You want to go, Casey? Okay, sure.
Sure.
So basically, the front teammates, we sort of found each other. We worked on different projects. We saw what their interests were, see what interests we had, where they aligned. So for the capstone, I worked with a group that a lot of us were interested in finance and the financial fields, financial analysis. So basically, we went through a couple of different project possibilities, what was given and some others that weren't given. And we ended up using the Kaggle set for Lending Club, and that was where we ended up.
Cool. Cassie, how did you find your teammate for the group projects?
So finding teammates for a group project is definitely not something that anyone should stress over. Everyone is so nice. As far as getting to know all of the people in the class, I feel like I sort of got to get to know everyone individually when they presented their first project, because it was sort of everyone got, time to shine. They were talking for 10 to 20 minutes, and we got to hear what they had to say and their research ideas and the things that interest them. Um, I ended up working with people for the first project who I had messaged them either over Zoom private message or Slack, which we use to communicate with one another, which is super helpful. Um, and I just said, hey, I don't have a group project team. I liked your work. Would you be interested in working together? And the answer was always yes. People are very friendly. No one is sort of like, oh, I don't know if I want to work with you. We're all just in it together.
Sounds good. So my next question for both of you is, what's your overall project experience if you have to like grade it from 0 to 10?
Let's turn it up to 11, as they say in Spinal Tap. I came for the projects and I wasn't disappointed. It was a really good experience doing them. Yeah, the key is having an appropriate sizing for the projects, and that's you don't want to do something too big, and you don't want to do something that's not going to challenge you. So as long as you fit in that mold, it's which the instructors guide you in how to select the right project and make sure that you're not going off rails. That's really the key. And I really enjoyed and I was very happy with the project experience.
How about you, Cassie?
I would say that you kind of can't understate the importance of the project and sort of the overall experience. Not only is that sort of, you've learned how to do various things, and yes, you've practiced maybe on the homeworks or on example problems, but having to sort of own it all from start to finish is a very good skill to have and to practice. And then not only are you doing the projects and sort of walking away with something tangible that you can show to employers as not only do I say I know how to do it, but I have proof. You also presenting it and sort of explaining and defending why you did certain things and chose certain decisions. That's always a great skill. But more than that, in doing the project, you practice using GitHub, which employers really value. And then you also make a blog post, which goes up on the New York City Data Science blog. You can share it on LinkedIn or other websites if you'd like. And that is a great way to get your work out there. It's, a blog post, so anyone can sort of read it and interact with it in a way that maybe they wouldn't if you just had the results of your data. And I think sort of it's probably one of the most important things that you can take away from this, not only from a personal learning standpoint, but from applying for jobs and doing things in data science afterwards.
That's right. We have found our project has been a major enhancement for students' job hunting experience because they have real stuff to show. There are hundreds, thousand people out there say they can do this, they can do that, but you guys have the proof. If it takes you 3 months hard work to get that far, imagine how much it takes other people to get that far, right? Cool. So I also want to ask a question around job placement. So what kind of job placement support you have received during the bootcamp and after the bootcamp? David, do you want to start?
Sure. So we had sessions during the boot camp that Vivian led on resume building, LinkedIn profiles, writing cover letters, and so there was a whole bunch of things that we had in preparation for throughout the boot camp. The one thing that they did stress on us was don't try and over leverage yourself too much while you're in the boot camp. Concentrate on the boot camp. And then after the boot camp's over, that's when you go into full job search mode. And then after the boot camp, we've met with Courtney a bunch of times, and we've had sessions throughout with Vivian on making sure that we have the post boot camp studying guide going along, and also that we're applying to enough jobs so that we have a good critical mass.
How about you?
So Oh, yeah. So as far as inside the boot camp, like David said, we had for about the second half of the boot camp, hour-long weekly meetings with Vivian, where we would go into a topic, whether that's, writing a good cover letter and thank you emails, or how to sort of organize your job search. We spent about an hour a week, so it was enough to kind of keep the job search in the back of your mind and keep you prepared without overwhelming you while you were still learning stuff. As far as the, like, post boot camp study plan, it's a combination of a lot of things that I'm personally finding immensely helpful. We have a lot of coding review, and sort of theoretical and technical questions that we have to answer, which are important for keeping us sharp for when we have technical interviews at jobs. We're also getting support, as far as, not only, if you're a little unsure which jobs might be a good fit, you also, I'm personally getting help right now, revising a cover letter that I want to send out. There's also a ton of help in terms of if there was a job that I was sort of like my dream job and I really, really, really want this job, I could reach out to Vivian and ask if she knew anyone at the company and she could put in sort of a good word for me. So there's a lot of support, both in terms of making sure that you're remaining a competitive applicant. There's mock interviews you can sign up for, which I think is super helpful. And then there's also support in terms of your physical job search and making sure that you're hitting your goals, you're applying to jobs that are sort of at the right level for you, and all of that.
That's awesome. So how would you evaluate our job support from 0 to 10 scales?
10.
It's good. It's good.
Thank you. Feel free to tell us what else we can do for you. We're totally up to it. Cool. So if you have to compare your job opportunity and potentials before and after bootcamp, what are the major enhancement and outcome you think you have achieved through this 3 months journey?
The big thing for me is the confidence level is gone up a lot. So before I started the boot camp, you know, I had a lot of experience with technology and whatnot, but I didn't have the data science bona fides that you needed to get a job in data science. So having the projects again, I keep harping on the projects, but that really was the key to showing that I can do the work.
How about you?
It's sort of been like a complete game changer for me. A little bit about my background. Prior to the boot camp, I had just come out of college. I had no sort of corporate experience. I had only just finished my master's degree. And I come from a background in psychology, which isn't the most translatable to computer science in a lot of ways or to data science. Um, but now I kind of feel like I'm in a very different spot. I feel really confident as an applicant, but I also feel knowledgeable. I feel like I know what I'm doing, and I feel like when I'm sending out my resume, it's not just going into the void. I feel like I'm applying to the right jobs and I'm doing so as a smarter applicant.
That's awesome to hear. So what are the advices you would love to give those future remote life program students?
The most important thing is to breathe. Uh, it's just that there's a lot to learn. You'll make it through, just as long as you pace yourself and just take a deep breath every so often.
How about you, Cassie?
As far as things that I've found to be helpful for kind of staying at your best and staying with the pace of the class, I like to just kind of very briefly skim through the lecture notes before class begins. That way I have a general idea of like what's going on and where we're going with whatever the topic is for the day. Um, it's also really good to just review your notes at the end of the day. Having neat, organized, easily accessible notes is really key, especially to just kind of if there's an exam that you're on, you want to make sure that, say you know how to do a function. And if you don't remember what the function is, you can find it in your notes very quickly. Um, as far as kind of making the most of the program, don't be afraid to ask questions and don't be afraid to talk to your classmates. I felt like I really, really enjoyed the cohort experience because we were all in it together and we were all sort of spending, almost at some points, it kind of felt like 12 hours a day together. You work really closely with these people and you share a lot of experiences. It can be a really fun time. You just have to not be afraid to reach out to people.
That's awesome. I'm gonna offer some Q&A time. Any remote student have questions? Feel free to speak up. Any questions?
I do have one question.
Go ahead, sir.
So the notes part. Now, certain online classes, they have a presentation you have access to, and et cetera, et cetera. So do you have access to those presentations they give you during the class, or do you have to write notes from scratch?
You have access to the PDFs that are the presentations. And just as far as notes go, I should throw in that my favorite, electronic notebook like OneNote is really crucial to success. So you don't have like piles of paper that you have to stack through. So that would be one thing I would also recommend. And the nice thing about OneNote is you can take screenshots and just paste it into the OneNote application, and then it just stays there. So it's just a little bit of a helpful little suggestion.
Awesome.
I think I would just add to that. You also receive notes that are when the instructor is teaching you something that's coding based, they usually have a class code that they're working off of. You'll get a copy of that, and that usually has some notes in it as well. So you will have sort of your own version of the code that you could write, but you also have all of the materials that the instructor is showing to you. So there's never anything that's like, once the class ends for the day, it's never going to be found again. Everything is online and available for you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, as far as the post boot camp work, when you're looking for a job now and you're doing your review, are you guys learning new things based upon what you learned in the program? Are you building upon it, or are you just reviewing what you learned in the program?
Well, for me, I'm definitely reviewing the things that I've learned, as well as learning new things, both inside the boot camp and outside the boot camp. Learning through responsibility. New York City's Data Science Academy will give you a platform, but you have to build on top of that. Build on top of that foundation. So, I'm reading a book on machine learning for algorithmic trading right now. It covers a lot of the material that we went through in the boot camp. It does go into more, some other avenues that are a little bit more in depth than you'd see in any, 3-month boot camp. But, it's sort of like a little bit of both. And then we're also covering like coding challenges, which we didn't do so much inside the boot camp, but they're very helpful when you're doing interviews and whatnot.
So give you an example. When you first taught linear regression, we give you all the math background, but you don't know how question would be constructed around this topic. So the review program is more on review the concept and how you can really get ready for interviews. Other questions?
I'll go next, Vivian. Firstly, David, Cassie, thank you for sharing your experience. A little bit envious because I would have loved to do the 3-month sort of live classes, but due to time differences, I've decided to go the 6-month route. So I guess my question would really be, how different this is going to be from the live instruction and how the curriculum is sort of structured over the 6-month period as compared to, sort of getting all of this into the 3-month period. Is the project sort of the same? Do you get the same opportunities to, work with the rest of the cohort? How generally does the 6-month option follow how closely does that follow the curriculum, for the live instruction?
I can address that question. So Cassie and David joined the 3 months intensive program. They are expected to work full time, no other obligation other than bootcamp during this period of time. For the 6 months, we designed for working professional who have day job. So the workload is like half. 6 months program workload is about half of the 3 months program. So for the 6 months program, you have a one-on-one mentor meeting. You can schedule with your mentor anytime, and we don't have a cap how many meetings you can schedule with your mentor. Also, we have scheduled the office hour, project hour during workday night or weekends. So you have access to mentor, our instructor, our TA, and ask questions through Slack channel all the time. So it has been fitting like a lot of working professionals' needs very well. And we have exactly the same academic requirement and exactly the same content. So this month we're taking a whole month off to do enhancement to the bootcamp. So we're rolling out a data science business case component in the bootcamp and other major enhancements based on the updates in the data science community.
I'm sorry, Vivian, just to also ask, in terms of the the video instruction, do you get access? Is this like the live classes you get access to, or is it pre-recorded, or is it both?
So the lecture is completely recording from the remote live class because working professional cannot commit to live class every day. It's just not possible. So they prefer to watch the video from the remote live session on their own pace. JP, I cannot hear.
So it's effectively the remote live, so you get the sort of benefit of seeing the cohort asking questions, that sort of interactiveness with the lecturer. I did the prep work during the sort of New York hours. So I really enjoyed it, but unfortunately for the full boot camp, it's just not an option for me. I would have loved it, but I still think that it's probably structured in a way that I can get the most I can out of the program.
That's right.
Did have I should say we did have someone from Switzerland who was on our boot camp in a 3-month boot camp. So it is possible to do the boot camp from Europe if you want.
We even have students have 12-hour difference from India took the boot camp.
Yeah, I suppose my problem is that I've got a day job.
Yeah.
He does as well. Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
6 months program fit you the best.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I want to wrap up all the questions. Thank you so much, Cassie and David, for sharing your experience. Next, I'm gonna invite Courtney to share our job placement outcome during this pandemic time. We collect all the recent job placement during March and April, so we can take a look.
Hi, everyone. Let me share my screen, and then we can get started. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so hi, everyone. My name is Courtney. I'm the Career Service Advisor for NYC. I'm going to go over some things. I'm going to talk about some of the markets, the trends that's going on right now within data science, as well as what we offer and how we can support you while you guys are here. So just to briefly summarize, and this is something that you can definitely look into at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS.gov. You can search data scientists and all this information will come up. So currently in the States, we have about 60,000 data scientist jobs from last year. I don't know how much that's increased. However, what I did find is that between 2019 and 2029, there's projected to be an additional 5,000 data science roles available, which is 14% increase, which is, I think the average is 4% normally in other industries. So that's extremely fast growing, which is really important when you guys are applying to the jobs in the future. Average hourly wage is about $49, and average wage is $103,000. So I think all that stuff is important when you guys are applying to jobs and when you are negotiating your salaries as well. I'm keeping these numbers in mind. But again, if you're interested in finding out more about what's going on in the data science world in the States and what it is that, as far as like jobs and all that stuff, you can check that out at the Bureau Labor of Statistics. So the question is, how do we support you guys? How do we help you guys when you're in boot camp and you come in and, you know, you or Vivian, what are the things that are provided for you guys? So we offer 3 rounds of personalized resume revisions. We start that during week 7, right, Vivian? So that's when you'll be able to schedule a meeting with me, and Vivian will be there so that we can assist you with your resumes, your LinkedIn. You also have the opportunity to create a job profile on our job portal, which is awesome because hiring managers there, they have the opportunity to scan through all of our candidates who are currently looking for jobs. So we go through all that stuff, your blog posts, your GitHub, make sure that it's 100% before you actually graduate. So then once you do graduate, you can almost like hit the ground running. So we also offer mock coding challenges and like technical in the behavioral interview, something that I learned because I knew nothing about data science before I came in here. In the interview process, it's a combination of behavioral and technical. So the post bootcamp guide is very important because it helps you with those technical questions that's going to be asked in the interview. So you'll also have the opportunity to schedule a mock interview, not with me, but we have a collaboration with Skilled, and we will give you a token. You can do those mock interviews. And they do a combination of technical. Now, if you want a technical and behavioral, if you want to focus more on behavioral, we can do one-on-one interview, mock interviews if you would like. Anytime you feel like there's something that you want to work on, you can always reach out to me and be like, hey, Courtney, I have X, Y, and Z going on. Can you help me?
I want to add to that. So every student who graduated from bootcamp have 40 tokens to speak with our mentor. It's 40 meetings of half-hour long. So almost all the interview you have, you can schedule a mock interview with our mentor network, which are most our bootcamp graduates currently working in the field as data scientists.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I said, we have one-on-one post interviews in which we give feedback and let you know how you did or what you should improve on. Lifelong access to hiring and networking with industry professionals. So like I said, if you're on our job portal, say for instance, if you start working and you're currently trying to look for another job, you can let us know. We can make your profile available so that if a hiring manager is going through it, we can make sure that your profile is updated and you're visible to help you find a job. Access to NYC Data Science Academy network and industry connections. So we do that of various ways. We also have a LinkedIn page. So once you do graduate, we have an alumni page. So it gives you access to have conversations with other people who was at NYC Data. Your classmates, your instructors, myself, Vivian. So if you ever need somebody to speak to or connect to, you have those opportunities. And then we also have complimentary access for meetups, alumni presentations, which we're going to be starting very soon. And I believe we are trying to work on like a few meetups in the future in different alumni events. So hopefully by the time you guys get here, we will actually have those things in place because of COVID, it kind of threw everything off.
So we plan to host a Christmas party as we usually do. Hopefully at that time, we're all back to office.
Yes, that would be awesome because I miss interacting with people, seeing them. So, okay, so we have some exciting news. So between March 1st and April 14th, we've had 23 students land a job. 3 of which were companies of which they were returning back to. And on average, we've had students have at least 5 job offers or more. So I think this is really great that we were able to get these students placed. I'm going to do a shout out of a few of this, all of the students. I'm going to try and give like a little fun fact about them. I was doing my research and my Googles. So let me go through them. So Elena, she's, her background is in PhD. And actually, before I actually go through the names, I want you guys to kind of envision yourself as these students. You'll be able to see their backgrounds, you'll see what education level they have, and you see what companies they're going into. Kind of get your, your gears going and trying to figure out where it is that you can go after you graduate. And you can see. So Elena, she has a PhD in geochemistry. She's currently working at NASA's Earth Science Data Systems, in which they're just collecting information on Earth science related things to help, our future in this global world and things. We have Yi. He's currently working for the Fund of Public Health in New York City. Deborah, she's working for Aspects, which is a Pan-Asian equity investment firm. Yes. Martin,
She came from Hong Kong and returned to Hong Kong.
Yes. Martin is currently working at a software company, the #1 platform, which is, what is the name of it? Salesforce, I'm sorry. Yeah. My bar was blocking. Marcus, he's working at NYU Lagoon. If you know anything about NYU, I think that's kind of self-explanatory. But if you're not in New York City, that's one of our main health centers. They have hospitals. They also have medical centers. Felipe, he's working for JP Morgan, which is actually the 3rd top financial firms in the States.
I want to add on those 2 candidates. So
yes.
Marcus transferred from one job to another job at NYU with much better pay and much more responsibility. The same thing with Philip. Philip actually resigned from JP Morgan to look for a job, and he got a job offer and get hired back to JP with much higher pay and different team.
Wow, that's awesome. Chris Kim, he also is a PhD recipient. I know we're going to go into Chris's story a little bit more later, but he currently is working for General Motors. He was one of our star students here at the Academy. Shamir, he's currently working at, Shamir, Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce. That's what CIBC stands for, as an executive director, which is a financial sector.
I noticed, is that, I noticed one of the students have UK. JP, are you from UK?
JP, are you there?
Shamir actually grew up in South Africa, and we have done bootcamp training for Barclays Bank in South Africa, and he got referred to us through the student who worked with us in South Africa. Which is really fascinating.
Yeah, I actually know a few of the guys that was on that 2017 Barclays group. So
really?
That's actually, that's actually one of the reasons why, except for the fact that, you guys are rated, sort of probably the top boot camp, also based on their experience. This is where they started their data science careers, so.
How did you know them? How did you know them? How did you know the Barclays?
Well, so the one at one particular stage was my boss, and then the other one, I'm still very good friends with him, and the other one I met through a colleague of mine as well, and we're very good friends, and they both were part of that Barclays group back in 2017. So, I'm well aware of sort of, and the thing is, and this is also what I'm aiming for, is that this boot camp was a complete game changer for them. The one person is now, he's running his own very, very successful data science firm, you know. So, and the other one is at the same bank I'm working at is in quite a well-paid senior position, you know. So
I see.
I'm really looking, you know, also to transform my career like that.
That's awesome. They actually traveled to New York City for the graduation from South Africa. We got to meet all of them in person and have a great meal with them.
I really wish at that point I'm able to do the same.
Awesome. Cool.
Okay, so Judy, she has a background in her bachelor's in integrity biology, but she's working at Riot Games, which is a video game developer, and they're creator of Ruin King, Legends of Renatera. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but you can see that her background was in biology. She went to Data Science Academy, and now she's working as a video game developer as a payment analyst. So you get to see that you might not have the background in it to begin with, but you can get into other industries. Chase Randall, he's working at Second MD, which is a second opinion medical services. Steven, he's working at Faraday, which is a startup company that was founded in 2012, and it helps companies find, convert, and return customers using artificial intelligence. Sophia Wang, she got a bachelor's in applied mathematics. She works at the Trade Desk, which is a digital advertising marketing firm. Joe Lu and Sita, we're also going to go into a little bit later. They're like some of our star students that we would like to highlight. Monisa is going to go into them, so I'm not going to talk too much about them. So Ryan, he's working at Yapita Data, and that is they work with 300 of the world's largest investment funds and corporations. Matt, he's working with Sophia Genetics, which is a biotechnology company. And you see that he has his background in biochemistry. So he came to the academy, learned about data science, and he used his past industry to get into his current position.
So
Michael, yes.
A big audience of our bootcamp are postdocs, people who stuck in academic and try to find a way bridge into industry. So Matt was a postdoc for a few years and then finally get into the industry. We're very happy for him.
Yes. Michael, so he's working, I don't know how to pronounce Anusha Bush. I just know that that's the beer company. So they're responsible for Budweiser, Bud Light, Stella, Presidente, Shock Top, etc. That's the company that he's a data scientist in. He has his master's in applied mathematics. Jack, a mathematics teacher previously. He's currently working at, where's Jack? He's currently working at Global System Engineering, which provides contracting services in the government, both state, military, and federal. In defense, energy, and environmental sectors. So that's who he'll be helping. Richard, he's working at Anomaly, which is an IT company based in the US. They focus on cybersecurity and known intelligence and threats and analysis platforms. Jonathan, he's working at Wider Circle, which is a social service, also non-for-profit organization that helps communities in their health and exchanging that information. Merrick.
I want to add on to the Jonathan.
Yes.
Jonathan was hired by our bootcamp graduate back in 2015.
Yes.
And Jonathan recently posted an online review about us. He's making 40,000 more than previously.
Nice. Wow. Merrick, he's working at Aclenia, which measures air quality, greenhouse gases that helps communities in giving that information to the government. Isabella, she's working for Smart Assets, which is a financial advisor company. Mark is working at Naval Systems, Inc., which is the U.S. national security through innovative solutions based in Maryland. Hong is currently working or will be working as sensitive capital management, which is a fluid engineering company, and he'll be the senior investment analyst there. And then Michael Emmerich, he will be working at Sulzer, which is Hong is working at an investment firm. Michael is working, Sulzer is a fluid engineering company that he'll be a data scientist in. Aiden is working for Sympathy Health, which is a health science company based in Pennsylvania. And Nog is working at C.H. Robinson, which is a Fortune 500 global shipping services. So you get to see the wide range of where our students came from, what they did in their past, what they were able to use during Data Science Academy, and see the careers that they were able to land. So you have ample opportunities to go anywhere that you want to, and you have a lot of support. So I decided to post this, keep calm, we got your back, because we really honestly have your back. One thing that I love about here is that you have a lot of support at any time. And this is not just from me, but definitely with me when you're working with me. If there's something that you need from me, if there's something that you need help with, feel free to reach out to me. Vivian, I'll say here, we have a very open door policy for it to be a digital platform. At any time you want to reach out to us and ask us for help, we have you. If there is people from previous classes that you would like to speak to, you could definitely do that. They were in your shoes at one point. So you always have somebody that's there to help and support you. So never be fearful of a dumb question, because I ask a lot of dumb questions too. I don't know anything about R and Shiny. I have to ask those things, but I don't think there's anything, there's no such thing as a dumb question. So again, at any time, if you ever feel like you need support, always feel free to reach out to us. And thank you for letting me present. Do anybody have any questions?
I just want to address, we didn't say everyone have 5 offers. We just say maximum we have seen among those candidates, they receive 5 offers. Just want to be clear.
Oh, yes. That doesn't mean it's guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed when applying to jobs, you know? So yes, thank you for saying that, Vivian. Any questions, concerns?
I think it's just a comment, and I think what you've just gone through, Courtney, is just testimony to how scalable skills is that you learn from the program. You know, that it's, you know, I'm working for a big financial institution, but, you know, especially in South Africa where things are not as advanced as in Europe and the US, you know, some of my colleagues that have been through the boot camp, they found, you know, that there's application for this skill set in basically any industry at this stage.
Cool.
That's
Thank you for the question. We're gonna wrap up the events in 7 minutes. So next will be Manisa, and we can give a little bit of highlights about how our program is designed and structured. Manisa, are you ready to go?
Yes, I just need to be the host so I can share my screen.
Let me stop sharing.
Oh, yes, that's it. Let's see. Good. Yes. As you know, I'm super honored to actually be the last person, because generally I am the first. And today I'm gonna be the last. Oh, let me I wanna share him my screen. So what happened is, when admissions is your first point of contact, and I stay in this webinars here and talk, and you guys may be thinking, I've seen this girl, she's gonna talk about this school. But today, when I'm the last, no, I'm not gonna talk about this school. You guys are here, you already know, like, we are data science in NYC Data Science Academy. We provide accelerated data science training. We teach both Python and R, all of these wonderful things that we do here. We're so proud, and our students today mentioned, but today, not me. Am I going to talk about the dates, the upcoming sessions? No, I'm not. But they're here just to make sure if you're here and you're thinking about, we still have our dates. And but that's not why I'm here today.
Monica, I'm gonna make this video available for upcoming students, so feel free to introduce all those critical informations.
Yes, we will. And am I here for the application? Yes, we can talk about the application. It's a 3-step, and a lot of you already have done it. And if you haven't done it yet, I'm so glad to go over the steps. We can always discuss. So submitting the first application, you guys did the first step, some of you. Interview, tech assessment, not to say that for the next upcoming sessions, we are offering discounts. That's super good, but let's do things different. Let's leave for the last minute. Last thing. Am I here for all the students? Well, that's a very important point, because we are actually here for the students, and we want to help every single student. And as an admissions person, as a person that's the main point of contact, like talking to the students most of the time for the first time, I picked some of our alumni. Courtney has gone through a lot of them. And these are people that I've helped from the beginning, just like some of you and maybe future of you guys that will be speaking with me. And I think it's important to say that how we welcome. I specifically picked these guys so we can reflect all the possibilities that will be available to you once you go through this bootcamp journey. We have here is specifically a PhD, a bachelor's, and the master's, and they all were able to find their position in the industry. According to the level, which is so important. And as I mentioned, the admissions process is the first step, because you guys are allowing us to understand where you're coming from. And everybody has a gap, everybody has their struggles, everybody has like things that they want to discuss, and we are here for you. As Courtney said, we are here to support you. And admissions help a lot of the students right at the beginning. We give the information about the program, but don't think that we stop here. Once you become a student, you can still come back to us for support. Admissions officers, we're experienced. We've been working with students cohort after cohort. We know so many stories that maybe you guys can relate. And today, which I'm very excited, is actually I'm going to do something very special. Back in the day before COVID, when there was a graduation, we used to have a little bucket for the graduation day, asking students what they would advise the future bootcamp students. And today I picked some of the quotes and I would like to share with you so you can take from their insight, since we had amazing alumni today who shared. So we're going to go all the way back in a little bit of history, a history of success of our alumni. And here's the first one. Very simple. Make friends, form study groups, that basic. Networking pretty much. Then you're gonna ask me, well, but I mean, you just said that's when was before COVID, but guess what? We are still very active in the community. We are still on Slack. I've seen people like just like, you know, not only questions, but sometimes like the inviting for things. I've seen some memes there, which I really like. I really appreciate. Keep doing that, guys, for the future students. Data science related memes. So that was one of the tips. You're smarter than you think you probably are. Don't doubt yourself. Never, ever, ever. You're here because you're curious. You got to this point either if this is a career transition for you, or because you actually find out that data science is the new thing. So you are smart and smarter than you think. Keep the curiosity alive. This is a history of our students. They're ambitious and they're curious. Start studying linear algebra, calculus, probability. Get your math there. If the math you feel like it's your weaknesses. If it's coding, work on coding. We're here to support, and some of the students are very thankful. Get those basics for improve your analytic skills. Choose your projects wisely. Look at what others did. Your homework coding skills will stay with you. Be diligent. Make sure that once you become a bootcamp student, you have a routine that allows you to focus only on your study. These are recipes of like success. These are people that went through the same journey and they have amazing jobs like we just saw with Courtney pointing out today. And as you can see, there's a level of simplicity and at the same time complexity that will allow you to be successful. Ask for help when needed. Very important. And learn your algebra. Wonder if that's important. Well, probably, like you can have a whole conversation with the instructors about that. But this is something that, one of the important codes. And the most important of all of them, when it's 3 a.m. and you guys are struggling and you think you can sleep, we're going to flunk, just relax. So important to make the most out of these weeks, which are so important for your career and personal progress. So I just want to make sure that you guys enjoy the experience and relax. But just, to make sure that we cover everything, let's go and review. This is for admissions if you have any questions. And yeah, do you want me to go over, Vivian?
No, it's so good. We should wrap up here.
Okay, wonderful. If you guys have any questions, just feel free to, contact admissions, and we should be all right.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. I really appreciate your enthusiastic towards this career, and I will see you in future events.
Thank you, Vivian. Thank you, Courtney. Nice meeting you guys, and nice talking to you again, Melissa.
I
Thank you.
appreciate your
Bye,
time,
Johannes.
everyone's time. Bye, guys.